Hey everybody, you know, every year the NBA schedule comes out, and in San Antonio, that means some wonderful matchups to look forward to. Think about it, Spurs-Lakers, Spurs-Mavericks, Spurs-Suns. But you know, there's a matchup every year that comes along that's just delicious for Spurs fans, and that is the continued torture of Mike D'Antoni. Now the Knicks coach, he has a couple of games against the Spurs coming up this month in January, but you know, you look at those ball games, they're measuring sticks for the Knicks and for what Mike D'Antoni's doing there, and that's not necessarily good news for this guy. I mean, over the years, you look at Mike D'Antoni and you look at the torture that the Spurs have put on him. It's been interesting to watch. Consider that from 2003 to 2008, he was head coach of the Phoenix Suns. The Spurs knocked the Suns out of the playoffs 4 times. During that stretch, they won 16 of 20 games. Mike D'Antoni, I've often written about, a guy who looks like somebody spiked his Gatorade with castor oil. Never looked happy on the baseline against the Spurs on the bench. Never looked like he was really pleased with what was going on, and there were many reasons for that. Lots of misery for Mike D'Antoni. That series, of course, in 2007, the infamous hip check with Robert Horry sending Steve Nash into the scorer's table, that, of course, the signature moment of the series between the Suns and the Spurs. But now things are changed. You go to New York, the Spurs do this week. They look at a series against the Knicks that's very interesting because Mike D'Antoni has put his brand on that Knicks team. The Knicks are emerging. They're a team now in the Eastern Conference that looks like a playoff caliber team, but now it's a team that needs a measuring stick, and here come the Spurs. A familiar foe for Mike D'Antoni, and one that has given him trouble in the past, of course, and may give him trouble again because the Spurs playing great basketball right now. So again, you look at the schedule. You look at the guys out there that are villains for the Spurs, the Kobe Bryants of the world, but then along comes on the baseline, on the bench, a Mike D'Antoni, a guy that the Spurs have tortured time and again. And now, delicious irony, the Knicks trying to carve out a place for themselves in the NBA echelon, coming up against a Spurs team that's red hot. For Mike D'Antoni, it'll be torture. But for Spurs fans, it may be another delicious moment in a long-standing rivalry.